As Sri Ayushji, my colleague in the RSS, has just now mentioned that we are in an unprecedented and peculiar times that the humanity is facing. As we all know, for last 2 months, the entire world is passing through a critical time because of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus disease. And it is really very strange that we have to meet instead of having a personal interaction in some location like in Delhi, the capital. We are in different parts of the country, and I am now speaking from Bangalore, which is my hometown. And we have called this an interaction with media instead of calling it a press conference. The background note has been given, which may not be considered the press note and official press note, but it throws up certain issues so that you will be able to pose your questions and participate in the interaction. Friends, it is the first time, I think, in the history of humanity that every individual human being on this planet is some way or the other affected because of this coronavirus. In the earlier calamities, man-made or natural, like World War situation, not all the countries were affected and not all the human beings in the globe were affected. Many countries did not participate. And no earlier natural calamity ever in the past had such a wide impact. No contagious disease or pandemic in human history has engulfed entire humankind. So that's why it's for the first time, I think, if I'm right, that the whole world is grappling with an unprecedented situation, and the enemy is enemy of all, irrespective of the status of the human beings, irrespective of the language they speak, the nationality they have, or the educational background, or belong to any race, community, etc. So that is why the common enemy for all human beings is this coronavirus. So that's why the fight also has to be on this basis that we should not have any discrimination in fighting this challenge. I do not want to go into the statistical details, which we all know, how every minute it is changing. Last night when we sent out the note, it was 3.68 million people were affected. Now just before entering in the hall, I saw it is already 3.72 million people are affected. Last night we thought it is around 254,000 people dead. Now I saw just before entering this hall, it is already 4,000 addition, 258,000. It is 7% of the people who are affected. Recovery rate is also there, 33 to 34% recovery is there. However, this large number of our people belonging to human race are bidding goodbye to this planet is a painful thing. They may belong to any nationality, any language. So that's why this unprecedented challenge has to be faced squarely by all the nations, governments, organizations, individuals, and communities. Here, I would like to share with you, already I have been told in the background note, India's fight has been unique. As we all know, it is the second largest population here in India after China, 1.3 billion people. And as we all know, India's literacy and healthcare levels are not that of many developed countries. It is still a developing country. But yet, I am proud to say that India's fight has been unique and it is something exemplary. Although even one death is painful and we cannot accept it, but by going to if you compare with other countries, India has done very well, or I should say, God has been very kind to India. So till now, the figures show that the total number of affected people or the deaths, they are still under control, and compared to other countries, 0.7 per million, 0.7 deaths per million population. India's fight has been unique in another way, that is, the union government and the various state governments, all the state governments, and the society, civil society, they came together to fight this challenge. In the very first week, on the first day when the government of India came to know about it, immediately they formed a group of ministers, etc. And now it is all history. I need not go into those things. They announced 24 hours curfew and then 21 days lockdown. And now we are already lockdown 3.0. This is the third lockdown announced. The way Indian society has cooperated with the government and behaved as very responsible society is something remarkable. This story shows that ordinary Indians who are generally spiritual minded, they have a bent of spirituality and cooperative nature. Because in the past also, whenever there were some calamities of this kind, maybe smaller in size, they have fought against that. People voluntarily they came out and they extend helping hand to all the people and to fulfill their daily needs like food and other things, medicine, etc. This time also, it is not an exception that the Bharatiyas, the Indians, in all places, in every corner of the country, because I have number of stories to tell that even in the remote villages, border areas, people who are living in shanty towns, they also have come forward to help the fellow beings. And the civic society organizations like temples, gurudwaras, churches, mosques, matas, deras, they have also played their role exemplarily. The first need was to provide food for the people who are daily wages, who are migrant laborers. Then to look after the weaker section of the society. And another thing was to provide medical care for the non-corona patients. That's why a large number of people have donated blood in different parts of the country. It was not required for the corona patients. It is for others. Because of the lockdown, the situation was such that everything was not available, but everything was made available because of the sensitive society and organized way they did it. That is a proactive government and a decisive government on one side, and a sensitive society. When they come together, what can happen, I wonder, is there to see for all of us in India today. That's why even the third lockdown, people have been cooperating. No doubt there have been a number of incidents where migrant laborers have to move from one part to the another in such a vast country. Now, in last 2 days, the migrant labor transportation from one part of the country to another has started, and the government administration has made all the arrangements. And the people, society, and the organizations like RSS and others, they have been volunteering to help the administration in easily carrying out these decisions of transferring the laborers to their hometowns and home states. Friends, I am speaking on behalf of RSS, being the RSS functionary. Most of you must be knowing that the RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, has always been first to rush to help the needy people at times of crisis and calamity, whether it is a natural calamity or man-made calamity, like train accidents and others, or the natural calamity like floods and earthquakes. The RSS volunteers in the past have always rushed to the scene and they extended their relief activity. In this crisis also, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which had its most significant event of the year, that is National General Council of the Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha, was to be conducted, was to be held in Bangalore. But the leadership of the organization decided not to have it. They cancelled it, and many had already started, and we stopped them. Those who had reached, they were sent back with all the health protocols which the administration had mandated. So this is the first time that for last 2 months and the next 1 month at least, till we come out of this crisis, RSS has suspended all its regular activities of assembling daily assemblies or weekly training camps, etc. So we have to take a decision much in advance to address this challenge. And RSS Seva activity, that is service activities, now again the figures are astounding. For any organization, it is huge. Nearly 342,000 Swayamsevak volunteers are carrying out the Seva activities in nearly 68,000 places in this vast country. More than 5 million families have been given necessary help. People who are needy about food or groceries or medicine, etc., they have been provided. So, in the background note, other figures are there. I would not like to go into that. What I want to say is how Indian society has been. See, the migrant laborers in Delhi a month or so back, when they moved towards Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, that is to eastward, they were all migrant laborers. They are earning their daily wages. It is very difficult for them to live, but the society was kind enough to provide food and other necessities to them. But they wanted to go to their hometowns, villages, so they started walking. But when they reached the Uttar Pradesh border, they had to be taken. But every individual had to undergo the corona tests. The administration provided all those necessities. What I want to underline here is when they walked along the roads, it was more than 300,000 people. They were not raising any slogans against anybody, government or others. They were silently walking, peacefully walking. They did not create any mess. They did not indulge in any violence. They did not demand for food. No doubt the people along the road in the villages and others, the NGOs and other volunteer organizations like RSS and others, definitely they have provided food, etc. But the thing is, what I want to underline here is that the ordinary people of India, how they behaved. So they reached their homes. They had to face all the difficulties, miseries, hardships, but they behaved. When the Prime Minister asked the people of India to support the frontline warriors, the doctors, medical staff, the government officials, the police, and the sweepers of the towns, municipal towns, and metropolitans, people came forward and they extended the help. Even 3 days back in Bangalore, when the police put a parade, people surrounding people, they were throwing food, flowers on them. Not only that, even the military band was played by the military in respect of the police. So this shows how people have been, as a society, as a nation, with oneness and something, this great unity, they have demonstrated. So that's why I would like to say, Indian society, with its internal immunity and intrinsic strength. Intrinsic strength because of its cultural and civilizational background on one side, and the immunity because as a race, God has provided us, so which has come in handy. So that's why the Indian society has behaved in such a wonderful way, and we could keep the curve under control. Now, the last part of my thing I would like to say, what would happen in the post-corona world? Umpteen number of people in different parts of the world, academicians, scholars, thought leaders, political leaders, media persons have been writing about post-corona world. And everybody agrees that it will not be the same. The world after corona crisis will not be the same again. We will be living in a new world order. Approach to life, approach to lifestyles, geopolitical balances, economic structures and policies, all these things will have to undergo a change. Whatever may be our ideological and philosophical pursuances, one has to accept that the humanity will have to revisit to its lifestyle and model of development. Hopefully, in the post-corona thing, there can be an investigation about the origin, reason, and impact of the pandemic. But the entire world will also have to come together to go in search for the emergence of a future world order, a new regime. All the individuals, organizations, and countries will have to participate in this discussion and practice of emerging a new world order. Here comes the role of India again. As you all know, the political ideologies based on politico-economic thoughts which have ruled the world for last 1 century have failed in today's world. The unbridled materialism and consumerism will have to be questioned, and I hope the humanity will try to free itself from this. And another thing is the economic depression and environmental degradations, which is taking a cycle, will also have to be addressed through a new lifestyle which is more friendly to ecological and natural situations. It will have to be a localization, which we call Swadeshi, a self-reliance model, and where a local resources, workforce, and needs will have to be integrated with economic activity, taking into consideration ecological considerations. And we in RSS believe that the entire world will have to have a bifocal thing. One, the whole world is one family. This universalism will have to be the human's goal and objective, that we all belong to one family. But at the same time, economic, political, and other decentralized models with social cohesion will have to be there. It will have to be simultaneously local and global. Think globally, act locally. Think globally, live locally. For this, when I say the whole world is one family, the basic unit of our civilization for any society is the family. The lockdown had its own positive side also. The families have lived together and they have tried to understand each other in one family. We hope that the importance of family institution will be further realized in post-corona world, which will definitely extend to the communities, village communities, and to entire universe. So it is now time for us that divisive tendencies, economic philosophies, policies, political policies and ideologies, religious differences, all such discriminations will have to be now overcome with oneness of humankind without having any discrimination. We'll have to think about a new order. But definitely, national identities will remain. But universal goal will have to be pursued. So that's why the RSS believes that a new world order with its self-reliance, sustainable development models, where lifestyles, natural and ecological considerations should be taken into consideration, will have to be the new world order's basic, fundamental, foundational aspects. That's why I conclude with saying that the human-centric, holistic coalition of the world will be the prerequisite for the emergence of a new world order. So we are facing the corona crisis. I am confident that the whole world will come with flying colors, although there have been a lot of losses. We will pass through this, but the crisis will herald a new era of human dignity, welfare, and oneness. Thank you. If there is anything for me to say as a response to your question, I'll be happily doing it. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, Dattaji, for your opening remarks. Friends, there is a WhatsApp number that has been shared to you. In case you have missed it, it is also mentioned in the chat. The questions need to be sent to the WhatsApp number. The question will be read out along with the name of the journalist and the media house, and then Dattaji will give his response. So if questions have already been received, Radhakrishnaji, you can read out.
Yes, I will start. Yeah. So the first question is from Shri Sautik Biswas from BBC News. So the question is, what do you have to say about the growing public perception fanned by members of the ruling party that Muslims are to blame for the coronavirus spread in the country? Do you believe that scapegoating a community for a disease is advisable at a time when social cohesion is critically important?
Shall I? Thank you. As you say, it is a perception. That is not reality. And from on behalf of RSS, I can say already the chief of RSS, Sarsanga Chalakji, Dr. Mohan Bhagavat, the other day when he addressed the Swayamsevak and the society, he has made it very clear that is some small number of some people, if they have the entire community should not be blamed and it should not be held as scapegoat. That's why naming any one community as the reason for this crisis or spreading of this crisis would not be in right spirit. The RSS does not accept it. See, the virus or the disease does not discriminate. So it has to be fought by all with oneness, which I have underlined during my introductory session also. So that perception, if somebody is creating that perception, either because of short-sightedness or somebody may be doing it deliberately. In any case, it is not acceptable. And the challenge is for all, and answer also should be by all.
Okay, the second question is from Dr. Awad from Sana, South India correspondent. The question is, after Mohan Bhagwatji's message to not to target a community because of the fault of a few, what is the follow-up on this issue? Is related to the first question. So do you think that the cadres of, what is the follow-up action? What is the follow-up action taken after Mohan Bhagwatji's message to not to target one community? So do you think the cadres of RSS are following the instructions? So what is the message you would like to convey to Arab countries? So where more than 8 million Indian expatriates are living in Harvard.
It is not only to the Arab community, the RSS would like to communicate to the whole world that already what Dr. Mohan Bhagwat, Sarasang Chalaka of RSS said, it is there in the practice of RSS. Of course, even when he has said, the follow-up action is also there. One or two things I would like to share. Some 3-4 prominent leaders of the Muslim community in India, they have written to Dr. Mohan Bhagwat, welcoming and appreciating his stand. And they have also said that we believe when you say that these things are on the ground, and lot of people who might not have written, through our outreach section, we have contacted community to many local, state level Muslim leaders, and all of them believe us. Because in the last 1 year, there have been many situations, many decisions, and we have had a lot of contact with the Muslim community. And even during this challenge, while extending the help to the needy people, RSS has these RSS volunteers have not discriminated anywhere. As always in the past, we have never discriminated, whether it is donating blood, distributing groceries, food, providing food, or anything. And there are scores of examples where Muslim community people have received the help. I can say in Delhi, in Shaheen Bagh, in Purana Delhi, Old Delhi, Silampur, many Muslims have received the help from the RSS, and in some cases, some Muslim community people also have come forward to make some donations to the RSS functionaries to carry on this help. Now, coming to the international community, as you have asked about the Arab community, where a lot of Indians are also there. Yes, of course, because of such situations, there may be unfortunate incidents and scenario. We should not generalize it. In the last years, we have also been visiting many such Muslim countries. Many of our friendships are also there. So I again assure that Muslims in India and their well-being is well taken care of both by the government and by the society, including RSS. Because when Mohan Bhagwatji told, he told 130 crore, 1.3 billion people are sons and daughters of Mother Bharat. So we cannot discriminate with our own sisters and brothers. That's why I assure them once again, there is no such thing. We have followed up. We have real contacts with them at all levels. And we are working on many occasions hand in hand also. The perception has been made, it's an unfortunate thing. So that's why I again assure all of them.
Okay. The next question is from Ms. Vinita Deepak from APTV. What is RSS doing to battle the perception war that says it is anti-Muslim in its beliefs and conduct? So do you think the organization needs to be more vocal and upfront about defending itself of these charges? Is there a need to promote a set of articulate right-wing thinkers and speakers who can take this criticism head on?
Thank you for your suggestion. I think you have been very sympathetic, and I think you also can play a role in this, because again and again, I have already answered this in the first two questions. When you say it is a perception, there is a deficit about reality. So the reality is entirely different. Lot of Muslim leaders who meet us on various occasions, they agree with us. They send their children to the schools run by Sangha Swayamsevaks in Vidya Bharati schools. They participate in many organizations which are being run by Swayamsevaks in our national life. It may be student organization, it may be labor organization, it may be many other such mass organizations and various outfits. And number three, RSS has been providing, as I said, even before Corona, lot of service activities which are happening. So everywhere, people participate. Now in this Corona thing, I'll tell you. For example, Northeastern students are in large number in cities like Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, and Delhi, etc. And 2-3 Northeastern states chief ministers have issued statements that because of RSS and RSS related inspired organizations, our boys and girls are safe. They may be Christians, but thing is, the Northeastern students from Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, these states, students are studying in these cities. They have been taken care of. Even on earlier occasions, that has been done, and even the present crisis also. So there is no such, and they have made public statements about this. Chief ministers have written articles, they have tweeted, they have made public statements. There's a discrimination of this kind is not taking place. Now, as you said, whether some right-wing article, right-wing or left-wing, RSS doesn't consider itself as right-wing or left-wing. We say we are a nationalist organization for universal good. That's why I don't consider as the right or something, whatever it is. If you say that right-wing organizations, thinkers, I think a lot many people have already been writing, and many more have written. So in this, I welcome and request for your participation and cooperation also, because please understand, talk to people, visit our service projects, and then highlight what you see as truth and fact. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is from Mr. Takeshi. He is from Japanese newspaper Asahi Shimbun. So the question is, some countries, including US President Trump, said that it is necessary to investigate the origin and the reason of the pandemic. So also, some of them said it was due to Chinese and virus coming out from the institution in their facility. So what do you think of this?
I have already said in my introduction and also in the background, fully, when there is a global crisis of this size and of this impact, it is for the international community tomorrow in the post-corona scenario to probe or to fix the responsibilities. It is not for a voluntary organization like RSS. However, in any such conditions, it happens that the international community, through some organizations which are having that mandate and infrastructure and standing in the global system, they will be going into that. I do not say whether this country or that country, virus is virus, whether it is man-made or not, whether it was purposeful or not, it is premature to say anything. So if the President of America thinks like that, it is his opinion. But I think, however, such a situation will definitely emerge, because when billions of people on this planet had to suffer, it is in the interest of humanity that it has to be probed, and we should know what is the origin and the reason, so that we can prepare ourselves as human race for any such calamities in future. It is not to pinpoint somebody as a culprit, but it is for the better preparation in future. Thank you.
Okay. So let me read out the next
I think
question.
the received questions are over.
No,
If-
there are a few more questions
Okay.
I can ask. Yeah. So many social organizations and NGOs globally are engaged in grappling with and helping out during COVID-19. So what is RSS ultimate objective or deliverable from its India and global efforts? So when Sri Bhagwat met with foreign correspondents, it was to clear the air about and understand RSS better. So is this another step in the same direction? And is it to also endorse and support the BJP government? Munish Gupta from PIO TV.
No, it is not endorsing any government. But the thing is, the whole world is now looking at India, how India is performing. India means the government of India, the society of India, both. Together it is India. And so as I have said in the beginning itself, when India has fought this challenge, it is together, the government and the people. They are not two separate entities in that way. When we say India, it's both. It is not to support anybody. That's why I said I am proud that Indian society, the Bharatiya society has stood up, and they have done it. And there are various organs. Society has many mechanisms. Government is one organ, and it has performed in its own wonderful way. The social organizations, NGOs, societies, the religious, cultural, and other organizations and the systems and outfits, they have also played the role. So I want to underline that how in such a crisis, a society, a nation stood up and it has performed very well. But I am not telling it's all. How we are going to perform in future, how we are going to learn lesson as a nation, how we are going to implement those lessons in practical life in the post-corona world. There also this unity, this immediacy, this purposefulness should be demonstrated, and I hope it will be demonstrated. So that is the reason why we thought of interacting with you. So that's how RSS looks at things.
Okay. So another question from Sri Rajesh Rai from Wall Street Journal. The question is, so how is India gearing up to fill the void that would be left in China's high-end manufacturing sector due to the pandemic? So why should global companies choose India to shift some of their manufacturing bases to India and not Vietnam or other Southeast Asian countries? What's the incentive that we will?
Yeah, it is for the government now to prepare a very detailed policy and economic thinking that they will have to do. Already, government of India had in last 5 years had opened certain of its intentions that Make in India, etc. Already been there, and lot of such initiatives on the part of the government of India there. And in many states, even the state governments, BJP or non-BJP, they have also been welcoming lot many people to invest in Indian states. So I think in the after the crisis, so government of India and the state governments together, they will have to think on these lines, how we can attract investment from other countries in its own way without disturbing, without harming the local self-reliance, without harming our natural resources to the extent that we face another problem. So that's why we will have to take into consideration how we will strike a balance. That's why there will have to be very choosy, in a way, judicious way of doing things. So it's a very detailed thing. We'll have to discuss about that. However, when I say Swadeshi self-reliance and made in India efforts of government, these things will have to be considered. Recently, the government of India, as I've heard through media and other channels, that farming section and MSME, medium and small enterprises, the government has announced a lot of new measures so that India as an economic unit and agriculture and manufacturing sector should stand on its own feet for the development of indigenous and intrinsic strength of India. But at the same time, a developing country or any country in this world today can't close its doors to others. We will have to live. That's why the Prime Minister the other day, he has put 5 ovals, AEIO, adaptability, efficiency, etc. objective. There, the last one, U, is universalism. So that's why this adaptability, efficiency, universalism, inclusion, these things he has already mentioned. I think the government of India will work on these lines. Definitely, Indian situation will be very conducive in the days to come for better investment. Another, apart from natural resources, the human resources of India, which has been proven. That's why Indian human resource is also another, and social climate will definitely be an attractive destination for investment.
Yeah, there is another question. This is from Sibyl Lich, ARD, German TV. So you have spoken about a new world order after Corona crisis. So how do you feel about the political and economic position of India?
India is second largest population and it is the most important, vibrant, democratic country. So if anybody can speak of democracy, I am proud to say that Bharat, India can speak about democracy. Because we have lived when all around, particularly in the neighboring countries, in democracy has faced a lot many challenges, and many a time they had to bid goodbye to democratic setup. It's India which has stood up, and after 1947, after attaining independence, India has been very proudly a democratic country, a vibrant democracy lives here. So that's why for the political thought, I need not say more than this, that Indian elections are happening very regularly, and the small villages also, the panchayat elections take place. The democracy is in the blood and DNA of Indians. So that is about the political situation. About political philosophies and economic policies and philosophies, I think, as I've already explained, these things will have to be, and not many people, the political and economic thinkers in this country, living and in the past, have provided enough foundational material to build up on those ideas. Gandhiji's Sarvodaya, integral humanism of Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, Sapta Kranti of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, all these things will come handy because
Okay.
they will take into consideration
Lab.
of Swadeshi, self-reliance, natural resources, human resources,
अलग से भेजने की
and
जरूरत
also have the local and global perceptions. One is local
है।
needs to be attended, local cultural diversities should be protected, safeguarded, but also have a global outlook. Because anything that happens anywhere in the world will definitely affect human being positively or negatively. That's why we cannot do. So such a combination,
अच्छा।
well balanced, holistic thinking will have to be there. I think this is where India will play a role. I am sure about it.
अच्छा, ये डेटा एक सेकंड मेरे को
Yeah,
समझा दो
there's
आ गया।
one more follow-up question.
प्रैक्टिकल
So,
लाइफ की जगह सब्जेक्ट
you have
रिप्लेस
emphasized on perception of RSS. The question is, will the globally work done by HSS, Seva, etc. in COVID-19 help moderate the otherwise held view that RSS is a right-wing Hindu-only
ये तो
organization?
सब भरा हुआ है ना, वो भरेंगे किसमें क्या?
Yeah, the Swayam Sevaks who have formed organizations in different countries, they are not strictly speaking, it's not RSS. RSS works within Indian borders. However, the Swayam Sevaks all over the world, in more than 25 countries, which the reports which we have received, they have been rendering wonderful services. Particularly, as I mentioned, in the United States itself, 1,500 volunteers of Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh are engaged in various activities of providing food, masks, and medicinal and healthcare, etc. So these things have been going on even in the past. When there was Katrina hurricane, or when there was earthquake in Nepal, or when there was problem in Sri Lanka, or in different parts of the world. So Swayam Sevaks have come forward even in the past, and they have been doing it. It is not for any perceptional motive that the Swayam Sevaks do. They do it as their second nature.
So, okay, all the questions received so far, I think we have covered. Over to you, Ayushji.
I see another 5-10 minutes. We can definitely open the house.
Okay.
I think Mr. Award is there.
Thank you. Namaskar. Just my question is about Gujarat state actually. Gujarat has been the second largest affected state in India, despite the fact that people have been doing good jobs during disasters. As you said, I know during the earthquake, during the drought, and all the I have covered
It's
that
our.
state.
Okay.
So what?
Please
Why?
question.
Why is it so much the infection in Gujarat? What is your assessment to that?
No, that way Maharashtra, Gujarat, see, eastern part is less affected than the western part is more affected if you see the map of India. There may be some valid reasons for this, life habits, natural situations, and many other things. It is for the experts to go into that. It is not the question of which party is ruling in one particular state. Because Gujarat is ruled by BJP, still why virus comes there? Because as we all know, people have gone from one place to another. Officially, some people have been taken in the last 2-3 days. Unofficially, also people have moved from one place to another. So, as we all know, this virus, and people who have come like that and who might not have undergone any tests, etc. So that has spread. And cities like Agra, cities like Mumbai, or state like in Gujarat to some extent, as you have mentioned, these are unfortunate situations where the pandemic has spread. positive cases are more. So that's why the government and the society will have to address the situation very strictly. And I, on my personal, what I would like to say, that the strict following of lockdown protocols and restrictions imposed by the government should be followed by the people to the letter and spirit. If we can do that, I think we'll be able to control. I appreciate your concern for Gujarat. Anyhow, we have to have the concern for all. So Gujarat, our friends, both in government and in the society, will take note of your concern and do their best.
Thank you.
हाँ हाँ हम इसका कोड लिख रहे हैं इंपोर्ट करने का हम
Dattaji, I think
कर लेंगे शायद
all the questions are done.
I think some people, somebody had raised the hand.
मतलब
Gentlemen.
डाउट ये है मेरे को कि पता नहीं यार
I think Archana.
Yes, Venkatnarayan. Yes,
Yeah.
Venkatnarayan.
Please.
Venkatnarayan, you have to unmute your micro.
हाँ ये भी एक बड़ा ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन है जो आप मेरे से पूछ रहे हो ना इसका क्या जवाब दूं मेरे को पता नहीं है क्योंकि कोड लिखना शुरू किया है स्क्रिप्ट हो रही है तो जब स्क्रिप्ट हो रही होती है ना तो मैं
Yeah, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah, India has the third largest number of Muslims living in the world after Indonesia and Pakistan.
Pakistan. Yeah.
Since BJP came to power in 2014, some Muslims in India seem to be feeling insecure. What efforts is the RSS making to make them feel comfortable and secure in the world's largest democracy? Thank you.
One thing, thank you for your question. And also the concern for any section of the society should be there by any, whether it is an organization person like me or a media person like you or anybody. One thing, why every time one section is not happy, one section is not happy, it is highlighted, I don't understand. Because Muslims, compared to any other country, are not less happy in India. On the government side, let us say, there is no discrimination of any law or anything till now.
जी भाई
All the beneficiary decisions, economic benefits and others,
ओके
they reach. For example, though I am not spokesperson on behalf of BJP or the government, as a responsible citizen, I would like to bring to the notice of the people that Jandan, Ujjwala and all these things. If one goes and checks the facts, you will understand that it has reached the poorest of the poor in the Muslim community as well. I based at Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. I have been in Patna in Bihar. Both these states have large number of Muslim community. But I have checked myself that these facilities, these benefits have reached Muslims. There is no discrimination. Secondly, they can perform their religious practices. They are celebrating their festivals.
वीडियो ऑप्शन ऑफ करने का ऑप्शन नहीं है और
Muslims are happily living in.
डाल सकते हैं उनको बस
They can contest for elections. They can occupy any positions. There have been a number of presidents and vice presidents of India who have been Muslims. They are there in top positions. They are there in cultural sphere like cinema or music or art and other. Civic decorations have been there and Indian people have happily done it. So I do not understand. Even unfortunately, some of the international agencies like recently United States Human Rights System, they have mentioned that India's record. On the day when the report was released, the Bollywood actor, film actor, he died, and the way Indians expressed their feelings is the fitting answer to the report of the United States Organization about the treatment to Muslims. I think RSS need not do anything for the government and BJP because they are capable enough to defend their actions and they are capable enough to do this. But on behalf of RSS, I will say, we also as an organization have reached out to Muslim community leaders, which are already explained in my earlier answers, that Muslims have been living in this country and they are part and parcel of our society. And RSS has never, there is no one incident which is proved. Allegations and perceptions are different. It is not proved. So that's why I think even this during this corona crisis, the service that is rendered by Swayam Sevak is the, I would like to say, testimony how Hindu society looks at Muslims who are their brethren. It is for the people to have their own opinion. They are free to have it. But the fact is fact that Muslims are the kith and kin of this country and they have lived here. As I have explained, they are participating in all walks of life without any discrimination.
Miss
So
Archana,
in interest of
understand you had a question. Miss Archana from Bloomberg had a question, I understand. So,
Did actually. Hello,
Please.
how are you,
Yeah.
sir?
And you?
So actually, I had a question about what's been going on in the last few days about migrant laborers being stranded across India and various states, and was seeking your comment basically on how you see, are you satisfied with the way the situation was handled? So many people stranded, the kind of hardships that state governments and, there was a lot of criticism about maybe there isn't enough coordination between the center and states. And also now a state like Karnataka has cancelled interstate trains because they want laborers to be in the state to ensure that the economy opens up. Do you think that is fair?
No, they are not cancelled. It is the information is wrong. They are not cancelled. They only said that if they remain here, we will take care of them for their food, etc. Because they are labor, they are contributing to the economic activity. If they remain, it is well and good. Otherwise, if they want, because number of trains and number of buses have already been flying and running, and anybody who wants to, if there is anything, even on behalf of RSS, we will request the government, those who want to reach their hometowns, want to see their family members, they can go, because that is the decision of the government of India. No state government should unnecessarily do it if they are doing it. They are not doing it, because I have checked in the morning, this morning only, particularly about Karnataka, because I am living in Bangalore now. And as far as the other thing about migrant laborers, which you have raised the question, is, see, it's the situation is such, it is not, nobody could have planned for this. See, suddenly when such a situation arises, to meet the situation, there will have to be certain, see, even the government officials and the police, to what extent they can have the burden for last 2 months, they are working 24/7, everybody knows. It is not an ordinary thing. In an extraordinary situation, if there are certain small incidents in some places, we should not generalize it and paint it in a negative way to show that the whole society and all the government and everybody is doing like this. I think it is very unbecoming of the people to blow up situations. I don't say there have not been any situation, any incident. There may be, because many people are living in a very psychological tensions now. For last 2 months, even the migrant laborers, they may be receiving food, etc., which is provided by various service organizations like RSS and others. But at the same time, they will have their psychological tensions. They may definitely express certain things. And the police and the administration is also, which is working day in and day out, they also have their tensions. There may be some sporadic incident which should not be generalized, number one. Number two, the migrant laborers who want to reach their homes from one state to another, from one district to another, we are trying to, we as an RSS organization and other organizations in the society also are trying to help the administration in order to see that the crowd is managed well, number one. They are provided with food and other things. Number two, their health care is taken care of. Number three, they are tested before they reach their home. I tell you, this morning I was having a discussion on video conference with the RSS functionaries in Uttar Pradesh in eastern part. Many people who have reached there from Mumbai and etc., when they enter a village, in some villages, the villagers are telling they are their own village people. And because they have come from Mumbai and other places, there may be some cases. People have come on their foot unofficially, they have reached the villages. So they have to be tested, they have to be quarantined. So these things, as a society, we have to address this situation. The government is also addressing. So we have to work hand in hand. Let's say if there are any sporadic incident, I'm sorry, it should not be blown out of proportion. And by and large, as I said, the migrant laborers have behaved wonderfully well. And the police administration and others are also trying their best to do things. And organizations like ours, we are also trying to see that situation is not going out of hand. So we also have to have patience, and considerable tension is there. That's why I think the situation will be eased out within another next couple of days. And we are also conducting a survey whether migrant laborers who have gone to cities for their livelihood, how many of them would like to live back in villages or come back to cities, so that future planning could be better. Thank you.
Thank you. We shall end the session here. On behalf of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, I would like to thank all of you for investing your time to attend this press interaction with us. We are sure that the collective efforts of all of us, we will all tide over this pandemic. And the next time, like Dattaji mentioned in his initial remarks, that we will have a meeting one-on-one, have a more physical interaction with each other in this
for a better topic.
Yeah, on a better topic in the post-corona world. Thank you. Namaste, and thank you all of you.
Thank you all.